Welcome to the Know. I'm Brian.
I'm Ben.
It's a beard day.
Yeah.
Beard powers. Give me some. Boom. Hey, forget live services and micro shenanigans. Nintendo has proved to the world that they don't need any of that fancy stuff, and the company's recent financial reports show that people will still buy millions of copies of single-player games.
And maybe in the future, cardboard. Yeah,
They're
but
geniuses.
what if you could do that and make more money after? Yeah, it looks like Nintendo has finally gotten the scent of the gravy train known as games as a service. And judging from some new comments, they're going to start dipping their toes in the water very soon.
Fuck it too, Nintendo. But it's important to remember that not all games as a service titles are created equally. And let's reserve judgment before assuming that Nintendo's going to start pumping everything full of loot boxes.
Okay. This brief announcement from the company comes along with a bevy of other announcements they've already made this week, like that the Switch has sold north of 14 million units and surpassed the Wii U's lifetime sales already, that a Mario movie is on the way, their next mobile game is Mario Kart Tour, and their online platform is finally going live in September.
Yeah, all these announcements and some others came via the company's earnings report for investors, where they also shared the big news that they're going to try out games as a service.
This quote comes during a portion of the presentation where Nintendo President Tatsumi Kimishima spoke about Nintendo's primary goal of getting more users to try out its intellectual property. And for them, one of those ways is going to be through extending the life of the games they're releasing, with the specific goal of getting users to play a single software title longer, thus games as a service.
Kimishima said, "Our aim is to offer more software options to spark interest in Nintendo Switch among customers considering a purchase. To promote longer gameplay for individual software titles, we plan to implement even more downloadable content and events that build excitement for games."
So, in other words, games as a service, as we've
Games as a
said.
service.
Games as a service.
Yeah.
Welcome to the current generation, Nintendo. Nice of you to finally join us. Although, I would really like for you to catch up with the whole voice chat thing.
Yeah, but also keep doing what you're doing, because y'all are awesome. Considering the millions of people already on the Switch, and that's nearly 15 million people at this point in just under a year, and how many are rapidly consuming content, it shouldn't be too much of a surprise, especially with the individual numbers that some of the first-party titles are pulling in.
Like, I want to be surprised, but I just can't, you know.
It's like unavoidable. Like, we kind of knew this was coming, but hopefully Nintendo will do it in like a less evil way than some others.
They'll pull a twist, like cardboard games.
Yeah.
Earlier this week, they revealed that Super Mario Odyssey has shipped more than 9 million copies, and the other big Switch games like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe moved 7.3 million, and The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild did 6.7 million, while Splatoon 2 did 4.9 million. Other games that crossed the million sold threshold were 1-2 Switch, ARMS, and Xenoblade Chronicles.
Yeah, when you factor in that there are less than 15 million Switches out there at all, that attach rate for so many different games, that's pretty absurd. It means that people are buying multiple games. Yeah, people like to buy I buy multiple games all the time. And huge chunks of the audience are buying a lot of Nintendo's first-party premier titles, which makes sense. I mean, the Nintendo for a while now has been considered like a first-party machine, so it's not a huge shock.
Absolutely, and it doesn't take a lot of math wizardry to figure out that if you can get all those millions back in for more, you're gonna make a hell of a lot of money. So it's pretty natural that Nintendo would want to take advantage of that.
But of course, that's where we as gamers, we get a little bit worried, because it's important to note here that games as a service, it doesn't necessarily mean microtransactions. For instance, Square Enix, they consider Final Fantasy 15 to be a live service game.
I'll give them that one.
But that just means lots of content updates and events that keep users coming back in. So I would consider that like a good games as a service.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, Assassin's Creed Origins has operated pretty similarly,
Yeah.
with free content drops and modes in addition to the game's paid DLC. So we probably shouldn't be too worried that we're going to see moon cards and loot chests or pay-to-win Mario Kart anytime in the near future.
Yeah, don't nickel and dime us to death, Nintendo. In all reality, it probably just means Nintendo's being more conscious of the fact that millions are already ready and willing to spend hundreds of hours in their games and doing more to support that longevity. It'll probably look more like Breath of the Wild's DLC or more like the ongoing support we've seen for Splatoon 2, rather than some of the crazier / shadier tactics we've seen from around the industry. Also, like when Mario Kart 8 did DLC back in the day, that was like good. That was like, hey, you want more tracks, you want more carts. If you want to pay $5 more, here you go. I thought that was
more fun and less randomization.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. In fact, the company was criticized by investors and analysts for soft playing titles like Super Mario Run on mobile, because everyone else knew Nintendo could have made way more money if they'd offered some microtransactions rather than charging a flat fee to get into the game.
Yeah, really, this is more of a sign that Nintendo and others around the industry are realizing games are expensive to make, and people expect a lot more out of the titles that they actually do buy. So even if you're offering a single-player experience, gamers want reasons to jump back in months down the line.
You do you, Nintendo. I have a lot of faith in you.
Yeah.
A lot of that has to do with the rise of Nintendo's digital numbers, which are starting to climb quite a bit thanks to the Switch. Video game analyst Daniel Ahmad posted some charts on Twitter showing the rate at which eShop is growing, and while it's good news for them, they're still miles behind the likes of Sony and Xbox. Nintendo is looking at 6 to 7 million active users, while Xbox operates near 59 million.
Yeah, and while those numbers come up and while they see the potential of that spending, it only makes sense that they tap into the same models as everybody else. But again, hopefully it means in some less predatory ways than some of the stuff we've seen lately. And who knows, maybe Nintendo will find some interesting ways to play with the model. I mean, they do their own thing, so they'll put a Nintendo spin on it.
Yeah, if anything, Nintendo loves to throw curveballs at the industry.
Right.
What do you guys think of Nintendo jumping into the games as a service model? Let us know in the comments.
And for future updates on all things Nintendo, remember to like this video. If you're new around here, go ahead and subscribe to the know. But it's important to remember that not all games of a service title, but of course, that's where we as gamers get a little bit worried. Games are expensive to make, and people expect a lot more out of the titles than they actually buy. So, wait, did I say that right, Eddie?
People expect a lot more out of the titles.